Hey folks, Spencer Remple with the Northwest Company, working for northern stores all across Canada's Great North. And today, I've got a real special treat for you. We're going to interview a fella who's worked with the company for coming on 5 years now. He actually joined up with his wife, and he's going to tell us all about his experience right from the start and right till now. So folks, through modern day technology, please welcome with me, Spencer Remple. Well, all right. Yeah. Hey, Spencer. Hey. Well, thanks for having me. Oh, we're just glad you're here. Yeah, I love your videos. Oh, thank you so much. So, why did you join the Northwest Company? Well, why did I join the Northwest Company? Well, it was, it was a time in my life, and actually both mine and my wife's lives, where we were looking for something new. We were looking for a change. We were, in fact, empty nesters at this point. Our children had grown up and had gotten through high school. They're adults now, and they're out doing their own thing. And we'd had kids from, right from the start. When we got married, we had kids right away. And so we never really had the time to work or travel or do things together. It was always around the family, and that was awesome. But all of a sudden, we were like, you know what? We've got our own future here. Our own, we can do whatever we want. It's kind of a new thought for parents who've been parenting for 20 years. In any case, so then we thought, okay, well, what do we want to do? I mean, first off, we've been involved in certain careers for a long time. And so it can be hard making a shift. We're looking for a company that was willing to take us both on, for one thing. And we found out that the Northwest Company loves dynamic duos. And in fact, they're happy to and even encourage hiring couples, spouses, and or even brother and sister, or best friends, or mother-daughter, or whatever, to help. It really helps out when you have somebody with you when you're going to someplace new. And so we were excited about that. It was a place that was we could work together, that they actually even wanted that. So that's probably the first thing that really turned me on about it. Then secondly, I was looking for, okay, well, making a career change, at my age, here I was, I was 50 years old. Going to make a career change at my age? That's not easy. I'm going to need training. And there's always the difficulties at the start and getting something new going, where am I going to stay? And how much is rent going to be? And what are the food costs up where that is? And all of those questions, well, the Northwest Company takes care of all of that. When you move there, you don't have any bills. They take care of you. They supply your accommodations, and they supply, your vehicle, even your housing, your furnishings, your travel, the training even. And that was perfect for us because we needed all of those things. And here it was, all wrapped up in this one, nice package that we could just dive into, and that they would help us through the entire process as well. Hopefully that answers your question. Oh, yeah, perfect. So how did you join the Northwest Company? How did we join the Northwest Company? Okay, first off, we wanted to know more about it, of course, and there was limited information online and videos on that. We watched what we could, and but then they had a live hiring event, and at this event, it was in Winnipeg, actually, when I seen it advertised just on Indeed, I think it was. And so we decided, that'd be the way to go. We could actually meet people that work for the Northwest Company. They're there prepared to tell us all about it, the whole process and everything. And we were not disappointed. That really was excellent, because that's just what it was. There was all kinds of experienced Northwest Company employees there to answer our questions. We found them very forthright and very, it wasn't, they were just giving us the straight goods. They were really looking for a certain kind of person to fill this role. And the more we listened and the more we heard, we thought, I think that is us. I think this is something that we could do along with their help, that we could get set up in this new career, in this new place. And it just really seemed like something that we could do. And it was so nice to meet people that had done the job before and really gave us some straight up answers on that. So after that, and in fact, that night there at the training, at the hiring event, they actually interviewed us. Both me and my wife sat down with an experienced manager. Actually, I think it was a director in the Northwest company, and he interviewed us and asked us about, we tried to get an idea of what we're like and if we're going to be a good fit. And at the same time, we're doing the same to him. And so it was a dual interview. We left there and we walked out of the place, and my wife says to me, she says, I guess that's what we're going to be doing now. Because there was just no, there wasn't any, there was no blockages in the way. Everything was just one step at a time. We seen we could just take one step at a time and that we would eventually get there with their help.
So how long was the process?
The process took us a little while. We had, like everyone, you got a whole life, and we were older, right? So we had our home, which was just a condo, in fact, and we had our vehicle, and we had filled up, everything filled up with all kinds of stuff and everything. And so we had to decide what to do with that. And that's, everyone's going to have to decide what to do with that. You could sell your place, and we could rent your place out. And for us, our kids were still at home, actually. And so they stayed in our place as our daughter was going to university and our son working close by. So that was perfect for us. Our vehicle was able to be stored there. But in many instances, you can sell those items that you own and cash in on that. You can store them at a friend's place for when you're coming back, because you're not going to need any of them. Then that's the neat thing.
Well, what did you do with all your stuff?
That took us a little while to answer the question further. That did take us a little while. And I think from the time we went to the live hiring event and the time we actually started was 4 months. Because when we got back and we had this idea that we were going to move forward with it, we still weren't really 100%. And they actually had someone, a recruitment and advisor person that was there for us all the time. We could phone them, they would phone us. Any questions, we're emailing back and forth. They're giving us information, trying to help us in making this decision. But that was really nice, a devoted person. And so, we wavered on it for another couple of weeks, and finally, yeah, okay, and we're going for it. We're moving ahead. And so then there was still a lot to do. In fact, I was working at another job. I had to finish up that job. We had to, put a lot of our stuff away in our house. We had to put our vehicle into storage. And so at first it was going to be only 3 months, I think, until we started. And then we're like, oh no, we can't get it all done. It's going to take a little while longer. And they're like, no problem. We'll put you on for the next month. They just advanced that schedule. Instead of January, we were there for February of 2020. That was our start date.
So what did you bring with you?
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, you can bring a lot of stuff with you. And that was part of our process too, is we had to box up everything that we wanted to bring with us. And because if you get them all into nice boxes and you have everything there, they will ship them up to wherever it is that you end up going, whatever ends up being your store. And at first, you don't know where that's going to be. You're going to go to the you're going to go and have your training, and you're going to go into a training store, and then you're eventually going to get a store of your own, and all of your stuff will be brought there. So what they did actually is they gave us a nice, healthy allowance of money we could spend through Canada Post, and we packaged up all the stuff we thought we need, certain books and clothing, and I brought along like all my fishing gear and fishing rods and everything, right? And hunting and camping gear and things like that I knew I'd be using, was excited to use up there. And so I brought those along, I packaged all of those out, pretty big boxes, and they shipped them all to Winnipeg, to actually the training center, where they were there when I was there, in fact. And then when I went to my store, they shipped those out for me the rest of the way, so that they met me at my store, and there we had all our stuff.
And is there training?
Yes, the training. There is training, and I mentioned that before. I was looking for a place that had training. I didn't want to just be thrown into something, after, hey, like I said, I was 50 years old, kind of an old dog, new tricks. I needed that, that training time, and I was so glad that they had that. They had that in Winnipeg itself. They have a training center there, which is the perfect location for it, because that's their headquarters there, the Northwest Company's headquarters. So we got to tour the headquarters. We got to meet all of those people, directors and managers, and that help run this whole I mean, it's big. There's a lot of stores across the north that you don't really realize till you get there. So we got to see the training center. Then we got to tour WLSC, which is their packaging and all of their warehouse that's there. Their main major warehouse. They have a lot more than just the one, but their main major warehouse is in Winnipeg. And we got to go through there and see how everything is distributed through and to all these different stores. That was fascinating. The more you know, right, the better. You got to know everything right from when you're ordering, you know, where it's coming from, where it's going through, and how it's getting there. The more you know, the better. And we really learned it all at the training center. In fact, I was a little worried. I thought, this is information overload. My brain was so full. I thought, I'm never going to remember any of this. But you know what? You do. You do remember it. You get into the situation, and then you're like, wait a minute. I've dealt with this before. You think back on your training. Maybe you have to go get a manual or make a phone call or a text or someone to really figure it out. But all that information was there, you know, and that helped the learning curve a lot. Not to mention, after the training center, we were sent to a training store. And really, I've got to bring that up because what a great thing that was. So from the training center, like I said, my brain's so full of information. I would not have wanted to have been thrown into the job of, you know, managing a store, managing a whole department. So they brought us to a training store. And there we were able to spend all the time we needed, in fact, to learn the departments that we were being trained in. So my wife was being trained as a store manager. So in fact, a store manager will be trained in every department. They need to know everyone. So as she came in, she worked everything from the office to grocery, and she did time at produce, and she did time over in GM and furniture and ATV sales and everything, all of the departments. So it was really neat, actually. And they gave her the time to be able to do that. I think it was about three months or something. We stayed at a training store until she felt confident. I was doing just a department manager. So my responsibilities were less, and I just got to concentrate on the one department. But being with Kate, that gave me a little extra time in learning my department, which was GM, the General Merchandise Department. And then I ended up, in any case, moving on and becoming grocery manager because that's a really needed one and a great pairing for dynamic duos there, where one is a store manager. So I ended up changing over to that, which again, that was no problem with the company. They're like, yep, that's going to work better for everyone. Let's do that. Here you go. All right. So how did you enjoy the training center? I really enjoyed the training in Winnipeg. It was excellent. There was a few different things we got to see. Like I already said, we toured the headquarters. We toured the warehouse. We also got to go to the Museum of Human Rights that they have in Winnipeg, a famous place. And I just so recommend going to that. That was just such an eye-opener and really helps give you an understanding for cultures and that as well. We also we were at the right time. We were in February, and in February is the Festival du Voyageur. And that was just so great because, you know, that's about the old times and the fur trade and the Hudson's Bay Company and the Northwest Company and all of that. And, you know, how it all started. And that just made me feel so involved yet too, you know, because here we were going to be going into these remote places and even still buying furs and selling goods, you know. And I mean, things have changed a lot, but it was kind of fun to see the old days and to see where we are now.
So wait a minute, do you live in the community or do you work on a rotating shift?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Lots of people ask that now. When I was up north in these communities working, you'd run into lots of other workers. There'd be nurses coming up from the south, and or there'd be, you know, perhaps a mine close by, and miners coming up from the south, or just different workers that they might need it in the town or whatever would be coming up. And all of them, as I met these people, they'd all be on these different shift works, you know, where they'd be in, well, I'm here for 2 weeks and then I'm gone for 2 weeks, or I'm here for a month and then I'm gone for a month. And it's all this in and out work like that. And kind of really the neat thing, and what this really intrigued me about the Northwest Company, is they're not doing that. You're moving there and that becomes your community. It really does. And like you live there, so you get your holidays, and they give you good, generous holidays. Company takes care of you, where they'll fly you out from wherever you are in your remote location of your new community, your new town. They'll fly you out to the closest, largest, big airport, whether Toronto, Winnipeg, or Edmonton, or wherever, and then you can take your holidays from there and head off to visit friends and family, which we usually did. And or even one time we headed, of course, to the Caribbean and soaked up some sun when we were in the middle of winter, and when you have nothing but nighttime over up in the north, eh? So that was really fun too. I love that holiday. Okay, so you live there. What are the accommodations like? Accommodations are great. I did a video on this, and they were different from place to place though as well. So in some towns, the company, Northwest Company, would own like a little apartment building, that had like maybe 5 or 6 kind of apartments in it. And other times they would own a duplex or a fourplex. And other times they would be just single dwelling houses as well. Oftentimes in our place and in the videos that I show, that's how it was for us. It was a single dwelling home, and, usually 3 bedrooms. So we had, lots of room for our stuff, and it was all furnished and everything. Everything was furnished. And I worried about that. I thought, well, they're not going to have, I want my coffee maker, and I got to bring this and that. They're going to have a toaster, things like that, appliances and that. That was all provided. When I was in there, there was something that I needed that we didn't have, and we had it in the store. The store bought it for the house, So we had really absolutely everything, from a waffle maker to a toaster to any kind of appliance, and then great furniture, because these are all things you sell in your store. So some of the great same furniture that you sell in your store, that's what the houses are all outfitted with. And of course, if it's time then for anything new, it's they buy it for you for the home. Right out of the store. Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. So how do you get paid? Paid is you're on salary, actually. So you get every 2 weeks money, boom, put into your account, and it's paid on the salary though. The greatest thing I found about this really is that you're there and you're working. Like I said, the company's taking care of all of your expenses, right? For the heating of the house and all of those accommodations. And then you got to think like your insurances and all of those things you're not paying. And really it's what you're not paying that gives you this ability to save money. I mean, there'd be times I'd just be working away and a payday and 2 and 3 would go by. And I finally look at my bank statement and go, holy cow, it's got a bunch of money in there. Because everything was taken care of for me. And yeah, that was something I really enjoyed about it. I found out that, that's the way to save money. It's not really about how much you make, it's about how much you spend. So in spending very little, I was able to save really well. Very happy with that. So what are the work hours and responsibilities like? Well, work hours, your work hours. So since your salary, right? I mean, you're going to be working at least 40 hours a week. That's just normal. And, probably usually more. And that's just kind of the way it is in retail. I think anyone in any kind of retail store in working grocery and that would tell you, the job's got to get done, right? And the customer comes first, the store comes first, and you got to get that stuff out, and you got to get these jobs done. And what it takes is what it takes. You're kind of married to your job. You have a real responsibility in that community. You're running that store, you're running that department. You have a responsibility to that community, but you have, of course, you can hire others to help, right? So every department and every store has a budget for employees, and so you can hire different employees. So depending on how many you can hire and how good your employees are, will of course affect what your hours are. And you get everybody trained well and doing their thing, and you can get a good schedule of when your freight is coming in, and you get everything all handled, and all of a sudden your hours can start coming down, and you got a little more time off, and you're taking your Sundays off, and half a day Saturday, but you do work quite a bit. I don't want to lie, because the job comes first, and you got to do what it takes. So once you get a good crew, of course your hours come down. Right. Okay, one last question. What has been your favorite part of working in the North? My favorite thing about working in the North? I'm a people person. So I think it's people. I think it's meeting people, the friendships that I've made along the way, the things that I've learned. You know, people are different, and everywhere you go, people are the same, yet they're different. And you know, I kind of lived in a bubble over here in the south, in the west and the south of Canada, and I just didn't even know these places, these people, and these traditions, these things even existed. And it just opened up my eyes to a whole new world. And yeah, that's definitely what I like best about the job.
Nice. Thank you so much, Spence. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. This has been a good interview.
Ah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, glad to do it.
Thank you. All right, folks.
All right.
Go north.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for watching, eh? Like he said, go north.